Good morning, Young Kings. Time for your more motivation this morning. Happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there celebrating. Thank you for your service. Started my journey a while back. October 3rd, 1994 is when I joined the Army. I graduated in 94 and in June of 94 and didn't want to do anything for the summer, just partied all summer. And then at the end of the summer, I had people going to college, and I went on to the Army. So October 3rd, 1994, and when I joined, all I had was a dream and a work ethic. That's all I had to get started, and man, it feels such a blessing. 26 years later, to still be serving as a lieutenant colonel and have experienced so many different parts of this country that I never would have had opportunity to experience had I not joined. A lot of opportunities. Started off as enlisted infantry, driving Bradleys, which is a miniature version of the tank. Had an opportunity to fly helicopters, both in the States and overseas. Afghanistan, Africa, Germany, Greece, Bulgaria. Man, it's been Costa Rica, Croatia. I mean, it's just been 26 years of, I feel like it's kind of been like traveling, like a travel agent. The Army's been my travel agent, sending me to a lot of different places. Some that I wanted to go to, and others that I wanted to avoid going to. But nevertheless, happy Veterans Day. So I guess that's a motivational tip for you young kings too. All you need is a dream and a work ethic. And then after that, anything else is possible with a dream and a work ethic. You don't got to be the smartest. You don't got to be the fastest. You don't got to be the strongest. If you got a dream and a work ethic, you put some time between when you get started, and you're going to start to see results manifest by just being persistent and just continue to go through life, the hard times and bad times. And I remember when I joined the Army, basic training, infantry basic, was extremely difficult. And little drill sergeant, on my previous videos, I think when I first started these, I go over drill sergeant French. So shout out to drill sergeant French. I think I did the most push-ups in the history of basic training. This dude just rolled me so hard. And at the end of the basic training, he pulled me and my mom to the side, and he says, "Hey, you got a talented boy there." He said, "I rode him so hard, and it's not because I didn't like him. It's because I seen something in him. Like I wanted him to really develop what it is that he has in him." He said he's hard-headed, but if he ever learns to fight for the right thing, because right now he just want to fight, but if he ever learns to fight for the right thing, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And he recommended that I go become an officer. And this is a kid who just barely graduated high school, who failed the second grade. And Drill Sergeant French was the first person that really believed in me. And here it is, I'm 18 years old, and no one telling me that I can do something. Everybody's telling me what I can't do. So shout out to him. I think that was a divine intervention in my life, for him to be there and have that much compassion and concern about someone like me, to speak a word in his life, into my life. And then that seed that he planted in basic training, is now manifesting. It's growing. Like I said, I'm lieutenant colonel. So all because this individual had concern at his job, to impart something into me. So young kings, all you need is a dream and a work ethic. And I'm telling you, you're going to be successful. So today's Veterans Day, so I went to the gym, I worked out, had a pretty good workout in. So I figured after the gym, good time for me to stop by my attorney's office, because I didn't have to work today. Veterans Day, got the day off, so I figured, kind of go back by and check them out and see what's going on. So if you didn't get the Kretzschmar Part 1, go back and check that out. I'm going to get with him today and continue this, but we will kind of do a recap on this case, the Kretzschmar case. It's the, hold up, here we go. this case is kind of like was cited in the divorce proceedings that came out. So I kind of wanted to understand the basis of what they were justifying their case on. So I wanted to go through and figure out and do some research on the case. So just a quick overview. Kretzschmar versus Kretzschmar. In this one, the husband was divorcing the wife. They got married in 1944. They started having problems in 1957 when the doctor, he shut down his practice and he opened up a nursing home. The wife didn't like the business owner, his partner, and she wanted him to get rid of him or whatever. Um, then the defendant, which is the wife, allegedly accused the husband, the plaintiff, of being lazy, stupid, inefficient, and indolent. And I told you last time I didn't know what indolent was, and um, got my handy dandy iPad over here now, so when I don't know words, I'll probably go type it up. Um, Having or showing a disposition to avoid exertion, lawful, causing little or no pain, inactive, um, or inactive. So that really doesn't describe me. Then they have some incidents in the home. The wife is accusing, in this case, where the husband is divorcing the wife. The wife is also counter, and she wants separation maintenance, which, as I mentioned, is alimony and stuff of that nature. Um, and then she goes in with some accusations about the husband and him being lazy, slothful, inefficient, stupid. And then there comes down to where there's a lot of physical violence and where he's either physically abusing her, spanking her, and doing all these different things. And then there's allegations of extreme drug abuse, amphetamines, and who else knows what. She just said he's a drug addict. And I think that's kind of the overview where we left off at. And if there's a bit overlap, then you'll just get more of a replay. So this part of the case, it says, at the time of the trials, the parties had not lived together for over 2 years and had no sexual relations for over 3. Both parties agreed that in terms of the divorce statute, that it has been a breakdown of the marriage relationship to the extent that the objective of matrimony has been destroyed. And I realized that we did go over some of this last time, meaning that since I've been back from Africa, I got back in April of 2018, and we just haven't been on the same page. And that's not all her fault. It's a lot of it is like one part of the time I wanted out, and then other times she wanted out. But that's been the history of the 25 years that we've been there. And I think the way we lasted 25 years this long, it hasn't been healthy. But the reason why we lasted this long is that we never gave up at the same time. You know, when early in the relationship, I wanted out, she held on. And then when she wanted out, I held on. But when both people are not holding on, then it gets dropped. So it hasn't been healthy. I've been realizing the more I've been studying healthy relationships, like this ain't it. Meaning that it was what I was used to, but it's far from what I desire to have in a relationship. So now I think we're at a stage where we both can let go and let this thing come to its natural conclusion. But let's go on. The defendant contends the marriage. Now, the defendant in this case is the wife. So just want you to make sure that you understand that. The defendant contends that this marriage can be saved and willing to consult a marriage counselor for further reconciliation. That's not the case. Like I said, I sought after for counseling, and we have been through counseling many years now. Matter of fact, we went to counseling with our pastor at a church we were attending, and at the pastor and I'm not innocent by any stretch of the means, but I have been in a toxic relationship and have had some toxic behavior done to me, as well as I have done some as well. But through this counseling, the pastor told us, he's like, hey, he's talking to me. He's like, Andrew, I don't believe in divorce, but if you did, I would understand that. And this is like counseling. And I've been to other counselors like, hey, there's going to come a point in time where you need to realize if this is working for you, we can counsel you, but then it's going to be a decision you have to make um, if you're going to leave or not. And I have left counselors for that because I said that's not my objective is to leave. I want to figure out how I can stay and make this work and make it healthy. Um, and counselors told me, no, I can't do that. You know, and not to throw shade, but her late dad um, um, sat us down. Like when we got into it, um, I moved in with her dad just so she didn't think I was just out here going to be partying and stuff. And her dad came and sat us down on the couch, and he says, I've watched off for over 20 years, and I used to not like Andrew because I seemed like he was too strong and he was too controlling and this and that. But over the 20 years, I've watched this man work, get off of work. He's taking the girls to practice. He's coaching their games. He's at every game. He's out in the morning working out with them. He's doing the yard work. He's cleaning. He's cooking. He's bringing the family together. And he's like, I watch how you treat him when he walks through the door. You don't acknowledge him. You don't give him a hug. And their dad said, hey, I understand you did that to me because I wasn't a part of your life. But this is your husband. And I see that you give him that same cold shoulder. And he told her, he's like, look, that's the same thing I left your mom for. Like, um, I didn't want that. Y'all need to figure this out. And he passed not too long. And I put that out there. It's like, and it's not to throw shade, but it's just to show you how isolating this woman has been towards me. And I've been trying to fight through that. But anyways, let's go on. So the defendant contends his marriage can be saved and willing to consult a marriage counselor. That's not the case. Recently, she told me this last time we got together, she gave me her best effort, and I didn't appreciate that. So let's go over this best effort that was given. We had got back together, I think it was right around Valentine's Day. Matter of fact, I was coming back from a training assignment on Valentine's Day. And I called, a few realtors because I said, look, if we're going to get back together, I don't want to be in that house. That house there, it feels like a hospital. It's like down, it's dingy. It's nothing wrong with the house itself. It's a nice home, but the atmosphere was just completely off. I said, if we're going to do this, let's go get a new house. So on my way back from my training mission, I called a realtor. And I said, hey, I'll be in town around 1 or 2. I've been looking at some houses. Let's go look for some houses. So I call her and it's like, hey, got 3 or 4 houses lined up for us to go around and look at some houses and stuff of this nature. So I get back in town. We go look at the houses. As a matter of fact, this was one of the houses that I'm in now that we looked at while on my way back while we were here. So we came through this house. And it was a beautiful house. We seen a few other ones, and it's Valentine's Day. So I was like, man, let's celebrate new beginnings. Let's do this. And I'm like motivated to really be into this. Like, okay, this is going to be different. We're looking at houses. We're going to get a house. Let's start building something strong. And she had already had a girls trip planned with her girls. So they were going to leave Saturday. I said, well, if you're leaving Saturday, it's still Valentine's Day. Let's at least have dinner. And there was an Airbnb concert. I said, we can go do dinner and then go to the concert. And she's like, nah, I need to pack for my girls trip to go with them Saturday, going to Chicago. And we'll come back to that Chicago thing. So I said, well, let's at least do dinner. She said, we can go grab something quick and then you just go to the concert and I'll go home and pack. So we got something to eat. I drop her off so she can pack, and I really don't. This is just simply me. I probably should have put my foot down and probably say, no, look, let's make us a priority. Let's go and do this. If you can do that with your friends, let's do this with me. But I was in a position where I wanted her to choose and want to be there, and I didn't want to feel like I was just coming back in and directing her and making demands on her on our first, really reunion. So anyway, she goes home. I go to the concert, Eric B concert, and it's a nice concert, and I'm enjoying it. And in the middle of the concert, or really at the beginning, when she went home, she got into it with my daughter, and they got in a fight, and my daughter ran away. And so I get this call from the concert. My phone's blowing up, and she's telling me like, "Look, you need to come home now. Like, Dalen's over here tripping and this and that. You need to come home. I was like, man, all right. First I get stood up for Valentine's Day, and then I go to the concert, try to enjoy it. Now I got to come home to address this. And she did run away, and they got into it. I forgot what they got into it about, whatever. But I'm thinking, like, all right, our Valentine's Day is just ruined, but I'm still going to try to do this. And she's like, well, what should I do about my girls' trip? Should I still go or not? And remember this, our daughters ran away. We don't know where she's at. I mean, she called back to some people and said she was safe with a friend's house, but we didn't know what friend or whatever. And she was like, should I still go? And this is to simp me again. I was like, well, we know she's safe and this and that. If you feel like you want to go, then go. And so she goes. She goes off to Chicago with some friends, and they do the partying all weekend. And I'm home trying to navigate because her daughters ran away and all this other stuff. And she calls back here and there, checking in, but she's partying all night because she's posting pictures and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, you couldn't come party with me for one night because you wanted to save your energy to go party with them. And to find out in Chicago, um, she was there. I mean, they were talking on the dating site with some dude in Chicago, and one of her friends were talking to the same dude. So they figured out they were talking to the same dude. So I was like, man, are y'all going to Chicago to see this dude and some friends or whatever? But neither here nor there. She denies that they ever seen the dude or ever met him. But I'm just saying, this is our reunion. This is her best effort, right? So she's in Chicago and she's partying and everything like that. And our daughter ran away, and then she comes back Sunday night. And about 1 or 2 in the morning, she comes get in bed, and then her phone goes off, like at like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, "Who's calling you 2:30 in the morning?" I don't know that number, and it's a number down by the Detroit area. So I'm looking like, man, you just come from this girls' trip where you stood me up on Valentine's Day, you go out with your friends, and then you come home and your phone is ringing at 2:30 in the morning, and you tell me you don't know the number. So then I was like, man, what's going on here? Like, so I said, look, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna change my number, and I want to make sure that we're doing right, and let's not even have any more phones on down in the bedroom. And she's got all upset about this. You can't be telling me I can't be having my phone down here. I'll be playing my games and this and that. But this is her best effort. So that was the breakdown from the beginning, because we got back together on Valentine's Day, and according to this filing, which is pretty accurate, we broke up on March 1st because I was like, man, I can't even get no attention between Candy Crush and you online and doing all this stuff, but you're telling me that's your best effort. So let's get back to this case. God, that was a long one. So it says the defendant contends the marriage can be saved and willing to consult a marital counselor for reconciliation. That's a lie. We just went over that. The plaintiff refuses to see a marriage counselor or psychiatrist and steadfastly maintains that he has no desire for reconciliation. That's not the case. I mean, you got the videos. Go back and see me begging, buying flowers, buying gifts, acts of kindness, and all those things I was trying to do to get back into that relationship. So that attitude has subsided now because there's no opportunity. I'm closed off now. I'm woke. That's not a healthy relationship. Excuse me. That's not a healthy relationship for me. But before, I was open to it. So it wasn't that I didn't say reconciliation was possible. And then it says the opinion of the trial judge is as follows: is that the marriage of a long-standing, that there's 4 children of the marriage, 3 who still living, and 1 dependent under the age of 18. We don't have any kids under the age of 18. These parties have, over a long period of time of their marriage, acquired considerably amount of property, and they have apparently worked together on this since marriage. Now, we have acquired a lot of property. I mean, it's material stuff. We got 3 homes and a lot of things that's associated with the home, material stuff. But so that part is right. but they apparently worked together on this since marriage. Mm-mm, that's not the case. You know, you refused to come down to my duty station. She refused to support me in anything. It felt like, and I used to tell her, I said, I feel like I'm just a paycheck because it feels like I have to go off and do these things, and I'm sending my paycheck back to you in a different location to support you, and I can't get calls. I can't do this. And I remember being overseas, like in Afghanistan. She used to get mad at me and just hang up the phone. And I'm thousands of miles away. I can't get a hold of her, and she would ignore my call. But to come to find out, during this same time, she's online dating with someone else. So while she's hanging up the call and ignoring me, she was talking to someone else. So I come home on my leave. They give us 15 days vacation back home. I come home and I just say, hey, can we just have a good 15 days? Like, let's just try to enjoy ourselves and this and that. And I say, just be open and available. She said, we'll see. We get back home, and um, obviously I've been gone like 6, 7 months. I'm coming home trying to tap her legs, trying to get something. She's like, I'm tired. I really don't feel like doing anything right now. I'm just tired. Now, I've been off in Afghanistan for 6 months. And it's like, man, what you mean you're tired? Like, I understand people can get tired, but you're not even excited to see me? So in the morning, I get up and we had towel and the grout was dirty. So I get up in the morning with a little brush, some bleach and stuff, and I go and I start cleaning the grout in the hallway in the kitchen, just trying to like, all right, I'm not gonna fuss about it that it's not done. I'm just gonna get up and do it myself. So I get up and I started cleaning, and then when she gets up, she fusses at me like, oh, so I don't keep a house up to your standard. You say I'm filthy and this and that, and we never got back on the same page the whole 15 days I was there. No sexual relations or anything. I mean, I've been gone 6 months, and I'm about to go back to Afghanistan for another 6 months, and you telling me this is how you choose to do my 15-day period, all because one, you was tired, and then two, I got up in the morning and I started cleaning grout. I didn't fuss at her about doing it, like why ain't this grout clean? I got up and I started trying to do it myself. And to come to find out that while I'm there, she's online with someone else. So we haven't worked together on this. Um, Several times was in the church, and I'm going to church by myself. She's like, I don't want to do that. So there's been times that she's benefited from what I've done, but she hasn't contributed, other than being there for the kids. But I'm talking about for me now, because we're not talking about the kids during this. We're talking about what we acquired, because now our kids are above 18 and child support subsides. So that's not the case. But I'm talking about as far as being there for me. And I used to tell her, I says, look, the Bible says I'm supposed to have a helpmate, not a humble me mate. Like, it's not your job to bring me down and tell me what I'm not. Like, you're supposed to be help me become all I can be. That was an Army slogan, be all you can be. But it says they have worked apparently on this together since the marriage, and I think the marriage occurs while the plaintiff was still in school, so to speak, to get his medical degree. So she's claiming that she's helped him go through medical school. And on the last video, I told you, she wouldn't help me in college. The one class we had together, she made me drop. Like, so she wasn't even trying to help me do that. Now, I will say this, like, during my other classes, she would proofread some of my papers because I'm grammatically challenged at times. So she did do that, but I don't know if it's to this extent, like we work together. Go on. It says, since the institution of marriage, various things have occurred, of which probably the thing that precipitated this divorce is the fact that these parties became possessed in considerable amount of property, and it's the claim of the plaintiff, at least because of the defendant, has become an impossible partner in this marriage, and it's caused him to leave. It's been impossible, but the last few months has been impossible, but I've been trying to stay. But yes, it's not me that's become impossible, it's you that's become impossible. Now here it goes. It says, now I have listened quite carefully to the phase of it, and then as far as I'm concerned, we would have to consider first here whether this marriage is capable of being salvaged. And at this time, I think I'm in agreement with you. It can't. Um, I was trying, but it can't. It is quite noteworthy in this case that most of the grounds for divorce, which has been detailed here, seems to have arisen at a period of time when the financial positions of the party has grown considerably. Which, yes, like I just told you, it's Veterans Day. I started as a private in October 30, 1994, and now Veterans Day of 2020, I'm a lieutenant colonel. So yes, I agree that our financial um, status have improved considerably. Um, from that point of view, apparently the plaintiff has become rather indifferent to this marriage. No, that is you, has become indifferent to this marriage, and I think you had some help with whoever called you at 2:30 in the morning because it's down there. And it's a coincidence. I don't know if this is a coincidence, but the same place where that number is where she's been going down there too. So in my mind, maybe it's a leap of logic for me to draw this conclusion, but maybe it is the same guy that called or whoever called, but because that's down in that same area, I wouldn't put it past it. Now my eyes open, I'm not doubting that, but neither here nor there. Um, so the plaintiff, she's saying the husband has become rather indifferent to the marriage and has sought other companionship and has become abusive physically to the defendant. Now, I have sought other companionship, and I'm not justifying this when I say this, because and throughout the marriage, I used to have conversation with my wife, and I used to tell her, I said, "Hey, I need some attention." I used to tell her, I said, "You are my only moral outlet. Like, if I don't get it from you, where am I supposed to get it from?" Like, I found myself performing, going to work. I'm coming home, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing the yard, and she's a stay-at-home mom. Coming to conferences, and they won't schedule the conferences until I can get off work so I can go there. It's like, what's the purpose of being a stay-at-home mom if I got to be everywhere? And then I'm coaching, I'm doing all this stuff. Very performance-oriented. So companionship other places. I used to tell her, like, you are my only moral outlet. If I don't get it from you, where am I going to get it from? And her response to me, don't put that burden on me. That's between you and God to deal with your lust. We'll continue on. Disrespect has become very physically abusive to the defendant. And I've seen a trend. They keep trying to build on this. And maybe that's why you did call the police, because she wanted to try to have that to be able to put in the record. But the judge seen through that. They didn't even pull me into the court. So when she probably had it staged, so she called the police and she can kind of justify, like, hey, I've been abusive. But I tell you this, she's gonna have to do a lot of lying in court if she wants this case to be applicable. It's gonna have to be a lot of lying and mistruth. And I know the stuff that I'm saying on these videos may sound harsh, but if it's hard for you to hear, imagine how hard it is for me to live through it. Because I'm not exaggerating this stuff. This is stuff that actually happened to me. So it may seem like it's a lot to put the business out there, but if it's hard to hear, imagine how hard it is to live through this. But we'll continue on. And he has used intoxicating liquors to excess. See, physical abuse and alcohol. According to the defendant, his reliance upon drugs to the extent that is certainly not conducive to the best welfare of his behavior towards the defendant. So I'm just some drunk that's just abusing you and just addicted to drugs. I know you thought low of me, but this is a new low. This is a new low. But let's continue on. Some of the language displayed here or related here has used by the plaintiff towards the defendant was certainly gutter language. That's applicable. I have had said some harsh stuff as well on both sides. In the worst extent, it would seem to me that the family in particular situation that these folks were in where it was particularly vile and vulgar and very unseemly for a man to use towards his wife. Um, yeah, I'll admit, when I came back to the house and I tore the house up, I said some sharp stuff um, about sucking places for free on a man who ain't paying bills, who hasn't took care of her. Um, I I'm not justifying, so I did use some very um, vulgar language during that period of time. I'm guilty of that, and I did apologize. But words, once you get them out there, you can't get them back. So I am definitely guilty of that. Um, During all this, of course, the defendant has apparently sought assistance of a psychiatrist and has urged the plaintiff to seek marriage counseling. Mm-mm. You haven't sought no assistance. The only thing that's been sought is another man and some advice for some better ass chicks that's telling you leave them, who themselves are in broken relationships, who themselves haven't had a man that has taken care of them since the beginning, who themselves have relationship with multiple baby daddies and stuff like that. You didn't seek help from some psychiatrists, but some psychotic people. And you're going to realize, probably not until after this is dissolved and maybe 5-10 years down the line, those same people that were advising you were probably jealous that we were prospering, we were buying a new house, and we were advancing, and they was wondering, why you? Why is it that she gets this and I don't? You know, be mindful. Every those people who told you you should leave me probably have some hidden agendas, because they watched your life and they watch how you have um, excelled and haven't worked, driving newer cars, staying in newer houses, and kids are taken care of, you are taken care of, bills are paid, and not having to live in apartments and stuff like that. Don't think those were your friends. You know, they may be camouflaging through some of that advice, telling you you do this shit, but look for the real motives. But you didn't seek professional help, I can tell you that. So, all right, and has urged the plaintiff to seek counseling, in which the plaintiff has constantly refused to do. I'm still in counseling, so obviously that's not applicable. His own reason for being that he did not have confidence in the marriage counselor advice nor the assistance of the psychiatrist. And we're getting here pretty long, so that's probably a breaking point. Let me put a stop there. You know, this dude is charging me about an hour, and he's getting kind of expensive with this level of research he's doing. I applaud him for doing it, but definitely, I don't want to spend all my little money doing this. So I'm gonna mark this out, and then I'll come back on my next session. So yeah, he's charging me too much for this, but he's worth it. You know, he's doing a damn good job. He's signing some stuff that I wouldn't have thought to look at. But anyways, neither here nor there. Young Kings, I tell you this, like, life is hard, but it's still beautiful. Like, and I said this on a few different videos ago, it's like, there's a lot of ups and downs in life. You know, you got to take the good with the bad. And this is going to propel me into my next season. So I'm not down and out. I mean, I'm on this roller coaster ride. I'm on the downswing. But one thing you got to remember, I'm still at the fucking amusement park. I'm having a great day. And I'm about to put a series of them together to have a great week, great month, great year, a great life. So live well, young kings. Don't be defined by your down points. Don't get too high on the highs. Don't get too lows on the lows. You know, don't get so high that you think you can't come down, and don't get so low to think that you can't rise again. Be balanced. Be balanced, young kings.